Right, switch. So this second part, I mean, I'm talk mainly about the upcoming royal succession. I think which is very much so. If anyone has followed me in the past few years, I mean, this has been the main topic that's been giving a talk so much. My main argument here is that what will happen in Thailand, the continued political turmoil in Thailand, especially from 2014 up until now, has a lot to do with the upcoming royal succession. And I mean, you must be so bored, also to hear that. This is also because of that sense of anxiety, right, among the traditional elite, that they have exploited the monarchy for so long. One day they realize that King Bhumibol will not be with them. Then the upcoming heir apparent, seem not to be able to deliver the same thing. So what must we do, right? The thing they have to do is they have to come back and take control of the situation. They have to make sure that in installing the next king, everything would go smoothly. In the process of going smoothly, their power interest and power position will be protected. That's all. As easy as that, right? What else? But it will not be easy for them too, because the crown prince is anything but the opposite of King Bhumibol. So it's very hard to recreate a new persona of the crown prince. To me, I think it's a little too late to do anything, right? I should like to think that if you want to build something, you have to have a foundation. Without any foundation, you can't build anything. But I'm sorry to say, in this case, you have no foundation. That's why I don't know what's gonna happen. What I can say is that somehow there seems to be a deal. This is in my own observation between the crown prince and NCPO, the coup maker this day. And this time also a little bit as a surprise in many ways, because given the fact that the crown prince had long been isolated by the network monarchy and also the military, right? Because in the past, in the past 40-50 years, the concentration had been on King Bhumibol, nothing to do with Crown Prince Vajiralongkorn whatsoever. When you were isolated for so long, this also means that you lack initiative of your own. You cannot make a connection with the inner circle of the palace, right? You do not have time to exercise your leadership. And also because of that, we don't know the vision of the king in waiting as well, because we know nothing about him. To the point that I think that the crown prince must have felt quite frustrated to be alienated by the army. That's why in 1978 he set up his own military unit. I don't know whether you know. Rajavallabh, right? In 1978, it is a small military unit. Immediately after the establishment of Rajavallabh, it was considered as hostile against the national army. Of course, nowhere else in the world, the military would be happy to see it fragmented, right? Why you have to have a separate troops? No. That's why that's kind of doesn't make him even make him less popular among the army people. Being alienated by the inner circle of the palace and also the military, then what the crown prince did was, and I couldn't blame him, to turn to Thaksin instead, right? It only makes sense, because that's why we have heard a lot of rumor about this intimate relationship between Thaksin and also with the crown prince. I would imagine that it would only make sense for the crown prince to go this way, because the crown prince must have thought that, since you're not going to get any support from the army, from the palace, leaning over to Thaksin, you might as well get the support from Thaksin supporters. So since Thaksin earned that popular mandate, he should like to think that leaning to Thaksin would also get popular mandate as well. That also explains why a number of red shirt people, they have come out to support the crown prince. I know it sounds absurd, whereas a lot of them, become anti-monarchists, but a lot of them also support the crown prince. I get a little confused, I mean, when I went back to Bangkok one time, and I witnessed sort of almost like a political clash between the two groups. At the right corner, you see them wearing yellow shirt, right? And with this, we love the king. The left corner wearing red shirt, and then we love the crown prince. Oh my God, what the fuck? Seriously, mean, is this serious? No, my God, I could not believe my eyes. You know, but aren't they from the same family? You know, but that's also explain the situation as well. And of course, I asked Kun Thaksin about this. You know, which I cannot tell you here because you know it's public. It's quite interesting of how Kun Thaksin look at this allegation or rumor about his relationship with the Crown Prince as well. I might tell you, you know, on the record later. But then things seem to change after the coup 2014, and because of this upcoming royal succession, I think the Crown Prince has come to his own sense that, well, you know, since Thaksin is not in power, he might not be in power for quite some time, considering that the royal succession is upcoming. So the only way that, you know, his enthronement would be secure, would be to work with the military. So I guess, you know, that is the way to go. I think from the perspective of the military, then it might only make sense to work with the Crown Prince. You know, if you're talking about other alternatives, might be more popular than him, talking about the sister, right? But then, my God, then it's going to cause so much problem, including power struggle within the palace as well. You're talking about the amendment of the succession law, right? You're talking about what would be the response of the Crown Prince as well. You think that the guy who is eligible to the throne would just walk away from the throne easily, quietly, and then go to live somewhere in Munich, you know, taking his son to a swimming pool, and then that's it? No, that would be, I mean, look what happened to Mo Yong. Right? So, yes, it will not be easy. And then not to mention that, what happened with some of the red shirt who have this pro-Crown Prince agenda, right? Would there be clash between the red shirt and also, you know, the pro-Princess Sirinthorn in Bangkok? Oh my God, it just caused so much problem. Why don't we just follow the tradition? It might be an unpopular choice, right? But perhaps, maybe unpopular choice would be good for the military. In terms of, it's easier to control, right? You talk about puppet. I wouldn't go to the point of, you know, seeing him as an ex-puppet, right? No, I wouldn't see that far. But working with a weak king could be in the benefit of the military. That is one of a good analysis, you know, if you really want to talk about this. So that's why I think the deal is done, right? I mean, other thing also on top of my head, because, and I think this is quite important, because the people in Bangkok today who are holding political power, all of them are from the Queen's Guard, Eastern Tiger. And this is so important because the Queen's Guard, Eastern Tiger, is a new generation within the military. So that's why, I mean, during the Q&A, I hope that we can talk about the fragmentation within the army as well. That's why you could see the gap between the military, the gap between the new generation of the Eastern Tiger, the Queen's Guard, and the older generation led by Prem. That's why you could also see tension between Prem and the current government as well, right? Not to add on that, the fallout between Prem and the Crown Prince. If you follow me this, right? Now, if the Crown Prince making a deal with the Eastern Tiger, with the Queen's Guard, it even made the gap wider between Prem and the Crown Prince, because Prem is a president of Privy Council. He know that he's on his way out, because when the Crown Prince become king, I bet you that he will change the whole team of the Privy Council of the Privy Council, and Prem would not be there, right? Because I think the hatred is just so deep, right? So I mean, since it's a Queen's Guard, and the Queen's also, you know, I mean, the son is her, he is her favorite son, of course, and maybe this is also to do with fulfilling the wish of a sick queen by, you know, giving the throne to him. I mean, this could be a bit trivial, but if you think about the dynamism derived from the Queen's Guard, it could also be important, because they are quite strong, the Queen's Guard. I mean, if you look at the name list, the cabinet list, the first one, in the aftermath of the coup, all of them come from the Queen's Guard. So that means that right now, the power is in their hand. So I mean, okay, in sum, if we know for sure that, then it would be him. The next question is then which direction Thailand would head toward, right? And especially if you realize that he is keen to work with the military, it would only suggest that he could be interested in politics. And that could be a bad start for Thailand. You know, for a weak king to be interested in politics, it would be so different from a strong king like King Bhumibol to be interested in politics. Then more or less the king would still be able to control. But to be a weak king, but then interested in politics, oh my God, it would end up quite badly, because you do not have moral authority for one, right? You don't have necessary quality to command politics. But then if you still insist on commanding politics, then again it would end so badly as well. Two options. One is to go ahead with the reform, which I think is unlikely, right? Even if the crown prince agree that in order to save his throne, he must undergo the reform, I am not so sure about the network. People who surround him would agree with that. Why the military would agree with that when going reform means reduction of power of the military in politics. If not reform, then go ahead with playing politics from a weaker position. Then you would only face rejection from the public. On top of that, if you continue to use lèse majesté, even though you lack moral authority, oh my God, I cannot imagine what's going to happen. Because with King Bhumibol, somehow, a lot of people still believe that you cannot say bad thing about the king because the king is good, genuinely moral. With the next king, you can't say that. And if there is nothing like that, then what would protect? What would give legitimacy of the use of the lèse majesté? So, last of the last, I'm still not pessimistic, because either way, it's gonna be win-win for us. Why? Going for reform is a win for us, right? Monarchy reform, military reform, 112 reform. Going full in politics would only meet with failure. If it meets with failure, it means the collapse. The collapse would be good for us too. But the next question is how we're gonna pick ourselves up after the collapse and rebuild society. Thank you.